Hey guys, it's Emma from Plaid. Today I'm going to show you 3 really easy and simple painting techniques to bring into all of your holiday painting, whether it be the background of a painting, if you want to get fancy with some gift wrap this year, a beautiful holiday sign to personalize your space. I'm going to give you guys 3 super simple painting patterns, I guess, that literally anybody can do. These are 3 of my favorites, and I hope that you guys will find them just as helpful and useful as I do. So I went ahead and I just painted these 10 by 10 wood panels just to show you guys on a very flat surface so that you guys could get a really good view of it. And of course today we're going to be painting with FolkArt Acrylic Paint. So the first one that I want to show you guys, a really simple way to create a buffalo plaid or a buffalo check pattern. This is so trendy for seasonal decor, especially if you lean more towards a farmhouse style decor, then you definitely want to pay attention to this one. I'm going to show you guys a really easy way to create DIY buffalo check. So what you're going to want to have for this technique is, of course, your surface, your FolkArt acrylic paint, a paintbrush, and some painter's tape. So one good thing to remember whenever you're getting ready to do this is that you want to be mindful of the width of your tape, because that's going to be about how wide your buffalo check pattern is. And once you guys, I show you how to do this, you'll understand why. So we're going to take a piece of our tape and we're going to run it horizontally across our surface. And then make sure it's nice and taut. I'm going to take another piece, and for our second piece, we're going to butt it right up against our first piece of tape, leaving no space in between. For the next piece, we're going to do the same exact thing, butting right up to our second piece. We're going to make sure that that's nice and taut, nice and flush. And then what we're going to do, it's like 1, 2, skip a few. So we're going to go back to our second piece of tape, remove that, and then we're going to place it up against this piece. So you guys can see that second piece of tape was really just acting as a space marker for our pattern. This is one of my favorite techniques, and I love teaching people this because it's much more simple than having to break out your ruler and draw straight lines, and then you have to go back and erase those lines. This is just a really quick and simple and easy way to create the same look. So we're going to keep doing that, bringing this piece of tape up as we go, acting as our space tool. Take this, bring it up. This is also a really great idea for backgrounds of your paintings. Sometimes when I'm conceptualizing a painting, I get a little stuck with what to do for the background if it's like a little bit more conceptual, and I just can't think of a good pattern. Buffalo check is always a really fun one to do. And the great thing about this too is that once you're done with your pattern and it's ready to go, people are always so impressed when you say that you made something like this by yourself, totally DIY. Okay, so now we want to just make sure that all of these pieces of tape are nice and flush on our surface. So it was horizontal, now we're flipping it the other way, so now it's facing like this. We're going to take a piece of tape and we are going to do the same exact pattern that we did, now going in the opposite direction. And I know we're talking about, you know, Christmas and winter patterns, but this is really great for fall. If you do some warm, earthy colors, it'd be really pretty. It's great for spring because when you do it with spring pastel colors, it looks a lot like gingham. Ooh. And it's just kind of relaxing to do, to lay all your pieces down. And we are almost done. One final piece of tape. And now we are good to go. So, once your project surface looks something like this, we are ready to introduce some paint. So before we do that, I just want to run my fingers across my tape, make sure that it's really flush to my surface so that it's harder for the paint to slip underneath the tape while we start painting. So I forgot to mention too, I base coated this canvas with Wild Wasabi, a really beautiful light green color in our FolkArt line. I'm now going to take some holly leaf, very appropriate for seasonal crafting, squirt some of that onto my palette. And I'm going to take a small flat brush and we're gonna fill in all of the empty spaces that you see in your pattern with that holly leaf. I chose green just because I thought it looked very Christmassy, but this would look really cute with red. With blue would still look very winter appropriate. You can choose really any colors you like. And you don't have to have the colors coordinate too, and I mean your base coat color and your plaid color. It just looks a bit more cohesive if they are colors in the same family, like a medium green like this and that light green underneath, but it doesn't have to be that. We are almost done. Okay, now for the exciting part, our big reveal. So we're going to start to remove all of this tape. I like to remove the top layer first so that you don't get any wet paint on areas that you don't want it to when pieces of tape go flying everywhere. Okay, so now you should have a sort of checkerboard pattern that looks a little bit like this. It doesn't look like plaid yet, obviously, but by the end of this final step, I promise it will start to. Okay, so I have still that same color that we filled in our tape with. This is still that holly leaf green. I'm going to take a little bit of my clean tap water and introduce that into my paint, just trying to thin down or water down this holly leaf color. Keep dipping my brush, introducing more water into my paint. We really want our paint to be like an ink-like consistency. A little bit more water. A little bit more paint. Okay, now we are ready to roll. Okay, so now that we've thinned down our paint, this is like a big game of connect the dots now. So we're going to start taking our thinned down paint and we're going to go in between our sections, connecting all of those dots. Maybe I'll add just a little bit more water so it looks really different than our solid paint. That's a little bit better. Okay. Connecting those dots. And your lines don't have to be totally perfect. If they're not ridiculously straight, it'll still look really, really nice. I promise. Going all the way up. Gonna add a little bit more water. Some of that water is soaking into my plate. All right, now we're gonna flip it around and connect the dots the opposite way. If you're feeling confident, you can do it in one fell swoop like this, just connecting all those lines. That'll definitely be quicker for you guys. And then we are left with a really beautiful, oh, I missed a space. Okay, now we are left with a really beautiful timeless buffalo plaid pattern. So that's the first holiday pattern technique that I wanted to share with you guys. The next one you may have heard of, you may not have. It's called fly specking. So really what it is a really fine splatter that you can do to mimic the look of snow or something like a winter scene like that. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. I already went ahead and painted this canvas with Dutch Aqua. I'm going to take some of my ivory white. And what you're going to want to have for this one is, of course, your FolkArt paint, a little bit of clean tap water, and then a firm bristle brush. And I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. Whenever I like to do my fly specking, I like to use a toothbrush. I'll show you how, but it's a really easy and fail-proof way to create a really beautiful, fine fly specking pattern. So I'm going to put a little bit of my ivory white into a regular paper cup. And so it's just my ivory white in here. And I'm going to just pour a little splash of water. Okay? Take a different brush, use that brush to mix these two, our water and our paint, until they're really well combined. And again, we're looking for a pretty ink-like consistency. But once those two are really well combined, I'm going to take my toothbrush, dip it into my watered down paint, shake off a little bit of that excess, and I'm going to take my thumb, holding the toothbrush like this, and I'm going to rake my thumb across the toothbrush. And you can see you're left with a really fine splatter, which I love to do during the holidays to really mimic that look of fine snowfall. And it's so easy and quick too. How great is that? Really, really good. But fair warning, you will want to cover your workspace so that you don't get fly specking on all over your beautiful kitchen table, and not just your winter crafts. All right, but it does clean up easily, luckily. Okay, so now for our very final holiday pattern that I want to share with you guys. I have gone ahead and painted my last canvas with seashell pink, this really, really beautiful pale pink. And we're going to do a little string of tree lights. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to do big, loose, squiggly lines. So I have one big squiggly line there, and then starting in a totally different area of my pattern, we're going to intersect some. The main goal of this is to take up a lot of space on your canvas, to hit a lot of different areas, to cover a lot of ground, okay? Maybe I'll do one there. All right, just like that. Okay, so now we're gonna follow our lights and just create these little ovals, okay? And kind of with a little bit of a point, almost like a gumdrop pattern, but we're gonna evenly space them out all across our string of lights. okay? So you would do that all around your sketched out strings. I'm going to take some of my black paint, squeeze a little bit of that onto my surface. I'm going to take a small liner brush, and what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to dip it into my water, wet my brush, and take a little bit of that water that's left on my brush and introduce it to my black. This is a tip that I love to give people if you're finding that whenever you're creating or trying to create fine lines in a painting and your brush is dragging. Sometimes it just means that your brush is a little bit too dry. You want your paint to be a little bit finer. So you just add a little bit of water, and then you will notice immediately that your brush is more able to glide across your surface. And create those really broad continuous strokes. Just the help of a little bit of water. Okay, so you're going to fill in with all of your big black lines, and then I like to take just some of my favorite rainbow colors and go ahead and fill in those light shapes. So like you see here, we are hand painting this today, which kind of adds to the magic of a homemade Christmas gift, I think. But another really great way to do this pattern and to even get the kids involved with it is to take regular dish sponges and cut out the light shapes from the dish sponge and then use those little pieces of sponge as a stamp. Really, really great way to make this pattern super quickly, whether you're making a sign or you're wanting to decorate some gift wrap for the holidays this year. Those are all really fabulous options to recreate this look at home. So yeah, basically you just fill in all of those loose, scraggly lines with our thinned down black paint. You want to go ahead and sketch out your lights, fill those in with your favorite colors of FolkArt matte paint, and then you are done and you have a really bright, lively, and colorful pattern for the holidays. So I hope that you guys really enjoyed at least one of the patterns that I shared with you today. If you decide to try them at home and post them on social media, I want to see. So make sure to hashtag Plaid Crafts. We're always looking under that hashtag, and we love to see what you guys are making at home. Thank you guys so much for following along with me. If you want to pick up any of this FolkArt paint, any of these colors that we talked about today, make sure to go to plaidonline.com, and we will see you next time. Bye guys.